recording the video, and here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Visit my YouTube page at youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. And please click subscribe as you start viewing all the videos that I've put up since the beginning of 2021. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. Remotely support your customers unattended and on demand. This is a robust remote support tool for IT pros and MSPs. Go to my website and you can click on the link on the left-hand side and enter Mike Tech Show for your free 15-day trial. And you can also just go directly there, instanthousecall.com. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. MagnusBox is the best online backup server for your clients. And you can actually try the whole and get the whole experience and features of paying partners for the trial. When you go to magnusbox.com and go through the trial, it's great. They are HIPAA compliant. Every employee goes through HIPAA training. Now, the best thing here, for listeners of this podcast only, you mention the Mike Tech Show, you receive free white labeling for your company. So that means it's your brand for the backup service, and your company gets 50% off the platform fee, a discount that's for 3 months of service. That's awesome. You got to try it. Magnusbox.com. And we thank them for being a sponsor. And then, of course, don't forget, please, since August, changed my Amazon link. Go to miketechshow.com. The link is always in the show notes. I try to color it orange in the show notes when I can. Sometimes I forget. You also have if you scroll down the whole left-hand side, you'll also see a big banner, Amazon. Click that before you add items to your cart. When you check out and purchase it, your price stays the same, but a small commission comes back to support the show. I so greatly appreciate it. We got holidays coming up, Christmas. You wouldn't believe, and tonight we're going to talk about them, the things Taz and I have been ordering here all week and coming, some of them the same day. So I'm in a great delivery area for Amazon, which leads to the topic for tonight. Taz is in the house, and this is Mike Cooley, who's the moderator in the chat room. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Great.
Okay.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. There you go. All right. And you know I rarely have guests on, especially guests that are actually physically here. You know, that's even more rare. And in Florida, of all places. So welcome, Taz. And we actually have a wedding we're going to in Tampa tomorrow. As a matter of fact, a couple came by today and said hello. And we're picking up some things from Taz. And it was great meeting them before we go down there tomorrow, and then the wedding's on Saturday, and then we return on Sunday. So, and then back to the grind. And you're going to hear a lot about that, because that is the rest of the topics, which is going to be, we're going to talk about some things we've encountered here. Then we got fixes from the trenches. Oh, boy, has this been a busy week. Taz and I are going to talk about TV and movie tracking. And then also going to talk about DocuSign. And I am throwing a vendor under the bus. Actually, two vendors. One of them, you got to hear this story. You're not going to believe how I was treated by a tech support for a company. And I was stunned. So Taz, and this is going to be the first link of the show, bought me and I'll bring it up, and I'll still keep Taz visible there, and I will bring up, wrong, that is, you know what, that's the wrong monitor. So hold on a second, and I just realized something, so give me a second, and let me pick the right one. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is the Amazon link for this growler, this Homecraft black stainless steel, easy dispensing tap mini kegerator. So
Yep.
you put a 5.1 liter, a 5-liter little mini keg, you put it in it, and you have your instant tap. Now, Taz sent that to me a couple weeks ago as a housewarming gift, and there were a lot of little parts, and I'm not an assembler, okay? So yes, I'm a PC guy and I'm not an assembler, but it's funny. Never when it's for me. If it's for you, no problem. Never for me. I always screw it up. So and proof of that was what Taz is going to explain. So as he starts to laugh. So for the first story tonight. So he gets here Sunday, and I want to taste some Heineken beer because I bought the mini keg and it's in the fridge. And we pull out all these parts, and what we slowly learn is we don't need all of these parts. All of these little parts are for tapping other types of kegs. If you have a pressurized mini keg, you can put it in there, and you only need one piece, and boom. Well, we did not know that, and we're exploring all this. Well, one of the first things you have to do is you got to pour water. You got to pour 3 cups of water into the device. Now, on the front, and I got to display this because on the front, I want to show something. And you can't see it. Where is it? See, they hide it. Oh, Taz, they hide it. So
Of course.
you can't see it, but behind the glass, do you see that little silver thing right behind the glass? Well, that looked like without the base, it looked like that's what holds the cup. So I opened that very early on, and we're on my counter on the island in the kitchen, and I pour the water in, and then about a minute or two later, all we see is water. So I'll let Taz reads the instructions because I didn't. So you want to explain?
Well, you dump the water in, and like I said, water was going everywhere. And then finally, we read the instructions after cleaning up all the water and realize that's the drain.
Yes. So to drain the water out, that's when you throw that lever. Now, of course, I pulled that lever first because it's there. Go ahead, touch it, move it. So, see, this is my trouble. So I open, and I mean, it's water all over, and I kill half a roll of paper towels as we're sopping up all the water on the granite island and the floor, and now I pick it up and I move it over to the sink because now I'm afraid of it, and that's when Taz reads the manual,
which wasn't that great to begin with.
Yeah, and that's the drain hole. So once we put that back, we decide live to fight another day. We're going to do it the next night. And we do. So the next night, we kept reading. I put that in and hook it up. And I'm telling you, in a couple minutes, we're not even a couple minutes, we are pouring beer. And we're not going to demonstrate the device because it's in the kitchen. But in the post-show, we will partake in those adult beverages that is Heineken. So that'll be...
Well, you will be.
I will be. What are you going to drink? Uh-oh.
You know.
Uh-oh. I think he's got some Jameson ready.
Maybe.
So, okay. So that is the story for, very embarrassing. I screwed that up. Going to talk about the iPhone charger. I'm skipping around on Taz here for a second. There's a method to my madness. So I need a charger as I'm going to concerts that my iPhone 12, I want to make sure that I can easily have more battery life. Now, there's a lot of things you got to plug in and, you can hit a button and charge. I have something that doesn't work that well when I was at Disney. And, you need your phone to last all day. So I noticed Taz on his phone have this case. Take a look at this. It's very thick. And this link will be in the show notes for this charger. And it's a battery it's a battery case that you can easily charge, where there's a button on the back. You tap it once and the lights blink, and you see I only have 2 lights because I had it charging. You hold it in. You hold it in the whole time. You hold it in a little longer, and it will start charging. When you're charged and you're happy, you turn it off, and you just hold the button in. It adds some weight, but I'll tell you, the iPhone is heavy anyway. They really increased the weight, and that was something that was very disappointing. But check this out. It was like $34 on Amazon, and I love it. And if I can get 2 full charges of my phone for a day, where maybe I'm recording a lot of video, some of the groups, this will be great. I'm looking forward to that. Now, how long have you had yours?
Since I got the phone in end of January.
Okay,
February.
Cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, so you've had it. You're going to be coming up on a year in a few months. So that's cool. I only had it a day. It came yesterday. So that's something I love. We were talking about this Tuesday, and I was like, I got to have it. And boom, next day I have it. So very, very cool. So we are spending some time this week, and we had some free time at night. We're watching some TV, talking about some TV shows. And why don't you talk about the TV Club app and give a description of what it does?
Well, the TV Club app, it allows you to... Actually, I can bring it up.
They can't see it, though.
They will. Shows a list of your shows. Take a show like, say, 911. You click on it, it'll show...
They can't see it. Just talk about it.
Oh. And then it shows the show, gives all the information about it, all the episodes. Shows you upcoming episodes. You can get an alert. So, like, I have mine set for 15 minutes before the show starts. I get an alert. And then you can check off that you've seen it, and that way you don't miss any shows.
Yep. So, the bottom line, you can track every single show that you want. And I started punching in all my shows that I love watching. I like Bull. I like The Blacklist, The Good Doctor. And once you search for that and you add it, and now you can go to the last episode that you've seen. And if you want it to remember all previous episodes, it will do that. And it will alert you, if you want, to the next episode. So I started putting in there some series that I watch from Netflix. So this way I could be reminded when it's going to start again. So I know, I forget what, it's not out yet, but I think Lost in Space Season 3 is going to be coming. So I put that in so I know it'll let me know when Season 3. It is a very cool app, but there's one flaw. It only works for the iPhone. So there's going to be a link for that in the show notes. Now, Taz has done some digging and listening to... What show did you learn this on? Another podcast for Real Good.
It was Rich DeMiro.
Okay.
Rich DeMiro's on tech.
Okay. Hold on a second. We're going to pause for a second.
No, he said, oh.
Okay, so let's continue. All right. So
Sorry, Tim, read that wrong.
Okay, Rich Demure.
Rich Demure's on tech.
Okay. That's a podcast that Taz listens to, and he talked about Real Good, which you can track everything. We have not really vetted this and tested it yet, but it does have an online presence, and it works for Android, and it also works for Apple. Now, what a lot of you didn't see this, but the new Blacklist episode 4 for season 9, it just told me right now that in 15 minutes it's going to start. And it just popped up and reminded me on my iPhone. So at 8 o'clock, the Blacklist is going to, the next episode. I thought that was so cool that it just came up right now. The timing was awesome. So we wanted an app that can do both the iPhone and Android. So you got to check it out. And by the way, these apps are free. So we thought we would share that. That's very cool to be able to just, track everything. That is really, really, really nice. So hopefully you guys will check them out and let us know. Now, something as Taz set up his whole the laptop. I had a spare monitor. I let him. He set up on our dining room table in the house here, because that was where there was more space, because I don't have enough room in here to have him have a full setup. And I gave him a mat, and it's a rubber mat that you unroll, and it is gorgeous. It's huge. And something I realized, I need 2 more. Taz needs 1. They're coming tomorrow. We ordered them from Amazon, and they're like $33, and they're big, and they're great. My son and I have them along our entire workbench in Pennsylvania, so you don't damage the desk or the table that you're working on. When we were working on that Growler Homecraft countertop, I had that black mat down. So when we were doing, anytime I go to do work, when I last week talked about putting the RAM in my system, I put that black mat down. My son has one rolled up, keeps it in his trunk. If he's ever going to be doing any hardware work, pull that out to save your client. Anyway, just one of those little things to keep in your toolbox. I got to ask, where are you going to put yours?
Probably hold on to it, but if I do, I'll probably use it on the kitchen table.
Okay. All right. The one of the things that you want to do when you're going into any place, you want to protect your client, and it shows you care. And I'm going to give you an example. There is a cable guy, electrician that I love working with, because he puts the little booties on before he enters an office or before he enters someone's house. He's not going to track something in, not going to dirty a rug, you must show you care about your client. That is going to go so far in having that client want to keep you, because you've shown you cared. And so that's why I wanted to talk about that, Matt. All right. Going to talk about this story. One of my biggest clients, they have as a matter of fact, it's the client that moved, that I talked about, the big move that my sons helped on October 2nd and did the move where they just picked up all the networking, picked up everything, and just moved it and put it right exactly the way it's all hooked up. So the copier company for this Lexmark XC8160, they moved the copier. So they moved it, tested it, made sure it worked, and it was on the network, and everything was fine. They never tested scanning. So now they're starting to come back to the office, and the COO calls me yesterday and says, Mike, can't scan. And I log in. I got everything set perfect. Can't scan. He has another computer that hasn't been set up that's an HP multifunction device in his office, I get that scanning no problem. So now I said, look, I will take it on my own. I will call KDI. That's the company that resold or leased the copier, that Lexmark, and they take care of it. And my client has not only been with them for years, and this is like their third device and third contract, they pay a ton of money for this. I call the 800 number. I identify myself and their account number. Everything squares up. He even confirms that they moved the copier. I said, great. I need a tech to help me figure out what's going on. We can see the printer. Every system can see the printer. The printer can't scan back to us. And I got everything set. I just need a little help. And he says, well, it'll be $25 for the first 15 minutes. No, excuse me. $30 for the first 15 minutes. $25 for every 15 minutes thereafter. I said, wait, really? I said, look, you guys moved it. It worked before moving. We didn't change anything. You guys moved it. He says, yeah, but they didn't pay for the network services as part of the move. I said, they've been a customer forever. I was like, you take a look at how long you've had this account. This is the first time we've called tech support since they have been under me for support for, I'm thinking 10 years. And this is the first time that I've called. I said, this is crazy. I said, I said, you got to do something to help us out here. I said, when this contract ends, I'm going to just advise my client, hey, time to move to another company. And he says, frankly, sir, I don't give a damn what you're going to do, and hangs up on me. He doesn't give a damn. Said that to me and hung up on me. And I was speechless.
I took cover.
Yeah. I still can't believe that happened. So I called the COO and I said, I need you to remain calm as I tell this story. And he was like, but he has little patience and hot temper. And he says, oh, I will take care of this. And I'm like, okay, I will stand back. About a half hour later, I get a call from the sales manager that deals with the accounts, apologizing for how I was dealt with, telling us a story that they, lack of training and lack of, they blamed it. I don't care what they blamed it on. I want help. And this is amazing. A half hour later, a tech is on site. And I am talking to him on the cell phone, and we do get it going. He updates the firmware. We made a change to the DNS, even though the DNS was correct. I get it. I was willing to do anything. We actually got it working. So that is the moral of the story is if you have a complaint, go to the person whose pocket it's going to impact. So if there is a sales rep or there is some kind of intermediate person that you need to deal with, that is very important to do that. I've never been treated like that in my life. I was talking with Taz. I said, I'm trying to think, 1984 is when I really started embracing tech like as a full-time venture. And that's the year I graduated from Drexel. And I start, really embracing things, and learned about the IBM PC and started working with it. So from 1984 to present, I've never had that happen to me, ever. So what we are going to do on the side is they're double checking the contract, and the date that's going to end, we will replace them because that's horrible. there's still some things that happened even after this that just all they're confirming is this is a company you never want to deal with. And I'm going to say the name of the company again, and they're in Pennsylvania, and it's KDI. Never, ever, ever use them for any services. That's the best that I can do on the podcast. All right. Getting into some of the trenches issues that has happened. Go ahead.
I just thought what it stands for. Crappy something incompetent.
Disrespectful.
There you go. Perfect.
Incompetence. So even if you think that, you don't say it. You know, I've thought that. I'm like, I don't. You know, you can think I don't give a damn, but you just can't say it. Okay. See, you can tell I'm still bothered by this. So, all right. One of the next links, I thought this was great. How many people, me included, you sign documents via DocuSign? I've been given all sorts of stuff to sign via DocuSign. It's real easy. Once you get the document, it's like, oh, you know, you sign here, you go next, you know, and it steps you through initials and signatures. I mean, I've done that with a closing for this house. I mean, I've done it for a lot of services. Well, how do you set up and start doing it? Well, I've never done that. I don't use DocuSign. For me, I'm sure a lot of you out there use that for contracts. I don't. I use a manual contract and, you know, they sign it. So physically, and I take it and I sign it and make a copy of it. We don't do it electronically. So my client, I had to research this a little bit, and it was so easy in a couple minutes. The link that I'm going to provide you is a video of once they sign up for the service, whoever it is, whether it's a client or you, the basic service is $120 a year, and it is so simple. Look at the video. The video is like 3 minutes, and it goes through everything and just shows you how easy. So my client purchased the least amount, the first level, the first tier, I guess, you know, for the $120 a year, and we quickly took a PDF, uploaded it. He marked it where the signature goes, and then added me in the email to go to. I got it. I signed it, and then showed him where he got an email that it was signed, and he was able to go to the page and download the PDF with my signature embedded. I said, you need to, the next step, which he did, he has another like non-business email, like a Gmail account. I said, send one to yourself under Gmail so you can experience the process of signing it. So now you can explain it.
Good move.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yes.
So what was easier to set up, the Tapper or DocuSign?
Yeah. Well, the Tapper in the end turned out to be easier.
Oh, you forgot about the one part, the second part.
What?
With the when you first put it on, and then later it was getting. We thought we were running out of beer.
Yes. Well, we thought. Well, no, I just thought there was something wrong with it. Was coming out too slow.
Yeah, it was trickle.
So I opened it up, and the cap that leads to, I guess, the faucet, the
bunghole.
I had to press it down harder. And then once we got a great connection, man, the pour just went. That's went great. So, all right. Now let's keep things moving to the tech for this week. Something, and I don't think Taz needed to use it. He was having trouble with a client that had a black screen, and one of the things I recommended, and this has saved me, and I've talked about it on the show, and it's tough to remember. It's one of those things. I'm going to have the link. That you gotta save it. You hold the Windows key if you get a black screen, or a problem where this happens a lot, like on Chrome or a browser, and you can't get the top back. And you didn't really click full screen, but there's something going on. To reset the graphic engine, but not reboot, it's Win, Control Shift B as in boy. So with the one hand, you hold the Windows key, Control Shift, and then tap with your right hand the B key. Everything will flicker for a second and reset, and boom, everything comes back. That has saved me many occasions. I told Taz that, but he didn't have to use it. So, but it's one of those ones you keep in your pocket, and it's always good to know. Did some Zoom training this week for a client who's finally embracing Zoom, and I'm like, it's only been almost 2 years. So that it's funny. She has to do some Zoom presentations and has never done that. So I was remoted into Instant House Call while she was on her laptop and we had a Zoom meeting. So that was kind of strange, but it worked. So I was able to remote in and show her what to do and teach her and walk her through scheduling a Zoom meeting. And boy, we've done this, but March of 2020. That's we've spent that whole half the month and then all of April literally doing Zoom, Teams, Skype training for people. So because of the pandemic. So anyway, it was interesting just all of a sudden having that to happen again this week. Comcast outage Tuesday morning nationwide. Although I have a couple Comcast clients that didn't have the problem, but I had many that did, as Taz has been witness to the emergencies that happen every morning this week, where I get hit over and over doing with all kinds of problems. I could be busy all day long. My son this week has been on site with clients every day. We've had such a great schedule, and knock wood, I'm not complaining. That's great. When I have him on site, that means he's not sitting just, waiting for a phone to ring. So keep him busy. That was great. But then when he's not there, I got to answer the phone. So that's on me. And speaking of which, the phone's been ringing a lot because of the ASCII summit that I went to. So now they have my info. So I quickly dispatch the companies that I care nothing about. And I let them know, and I'm pretty terse. I'm like, I've looked at your pricing. Sorry, it's not a good fit. Boom, bye. And I'm done. Move on. Hey, they can just take me off the list. But next week, I've set up 2 conference calls, and we'll talk about that on next week's show. So there are some clients that I do want to deep dive, and I want to hear what they have offering. And I'll share those companies next Thursday, let you know how those initial meetings went. Okay, next link that's going to be in the show notes. This is great. Why does Google Chrome keep crashing, freezing, or not responding? So we did a couple things for this client. I had him turn off hardware acceleration. That seems to be a common recommendation. And one of the things which he would do when it froze or when something happened, he'd reboot. I showed him, no. If this is happening, just open Task Manager, showed him how, and just end task on Chrome. When I did it on the one, there were like 16 instances running. And there was also these 2 Chrome background services that I had never seen, and we killed them. They never came back. And I'm wondering if that was causing it. I don't know, but he seems to be good now. But more importantly, I taught him how to fish. I educated him on how to kill a task, and that just made his day. So that was awesome. 2 clients this week complained about Outlook running out of space. That's because the OST file or the PST file cannot be more than 50 gig. They hit that limit and did not know how to deal with it. So, and what's funny, and this is so important, when they go to clean it, they were moving it from like the inbox or under the inbox to another folder, but it was the same OST file. They have Exchange hosted. And I'm like, oh man, no, you're not saving the space. So I created an archive PST folder and taught the one user how to drag and drop moving folders to the archive. It sounds simple, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. And you want to make sure that your clients are armed with this. The next one was emptying the deleted items, emptying the junk mail. A lot of people don't do that. I have clients that they think the deleted items folder is a folder to save things. No. Why did you delete it? You either file it or you delete it. And when you delete it, you clean up the delete. A lot of clients live and delete it. Well, then why did you delete it? Okay, that's another story. But anyway, what I've made sure is it did a lot of educating this week, and I didn't lose my patience either, so that was pretty good. So, yep. Now, my son is on site with 2 new laptops for 2 new users that they have SureWeb email, but they have an on-prem real server, but not running Exchange. Matter of fact, I migrated them. Auto Discover. This is a fix that I've talked about that we had to use again. And I had my son put the file on his USB stick when he headed out there, and we were able to get the mail synced up to SureWeb. Here's the problem. When you have an on-prem server, Auto Discover, there's a way to disable it, and I've done this successfully. I tried those same steps on this server, but it just doesn't seem to work, and that's a very complicated process. Well, Microsoft wants to go to they think that Microsoft is the only host for Exchange. Well, guess what? There's others. There's AppRiver, there's SureWeb, there's a lot of other Exchange hosted services. You got to take this registry fix that I know I put in the show notes a long time ago. I'm going to make sure it's in the show notes again for this registry fix. I'm going to make it a text file. You have to rename it as a .reg, and this you just merge into the registry and everything's good, and you'll be able to find a non-Microsoft host so long as the Auto Discover in their DNS, the public DNS, is correct. So that's a key. All right. This was frustrating this week. User got a wireless keyboard and mouse. And in my kind of bullet note here, I have nightmare remotely with technically challenged user to hook up their their wireless keyboard and mouse that they just got a new one to replace the old one. So I tried everything, and I said, look, we're going to have to schedule an on-site visit with my son, and he can take care of this and get it fixed. I said, I want to get you up and running. Can you go find a spare wired mouse and wired keyboard? Oh, great. Goes, finds them, hooks it up, get them working. It's great. I said, now, make sure all of the new is put back in the box and keep the old ones separate. Mike Jr. will come by. We'll schedule something. I said, as a matter of fact, how about if I have him call you on Friday and we'll try to do this remotely, and if not, we'll schedule something next week. She's fine. She goes, an hour later, I get a call. I got the wireless working. I didn't realize there was a second transmitter in the box. You know what? I didn't either. And she found the second transmitter. And that's why, but I don't understand something. If she had one transmitter, either the keyboard or the mouse should have worked, right? That's just logical. None of them worked. The second one, putting it in, they both worked. I don't understand, but she's happy and they're working. So that's all we care about. So wanted to share that. Here's something, and it's more of a complaint. Client called with an iPad and he uses Firefox, and it was hijacked. Now, I have this happen in Safari a lot, not a lot, but when it happens, I can, double tap, get back to the home screen. Then I open up settings, I go to general, I find Safari, and you can clear the cache and data. Boom, Safari's fixed. Firefox has that, but you have to be in Firefox. We could not clear because it hijacked Firefox so good, we could not get to the settings. Why does Firefox not put some of those settings like Safari has and so many other apps that you install? Don't understand that. So Firefox needs to fix that. And why we're doing that, let's throw Intuit under the bus. Something that's happening, and I know everybody that supports QuickBooks Pro is running into this with the desktop version. They are forcing updates in the middle of the day when you log in. They give you only like 2 chances to not update, and they force the update. You can't log in until you do the update. I had a user that had to do this. She did it, and it it updated the data file and messed with someone else that was always in there. That was in there. So you got to get everybody out, and then make each person do the update. This is pretty disruptive during the day, and I think disgraceful that Intuit is inflicting their will upon the users to force them to update when they maybe don't want to. Maybe that update's going to do something that's going to really screw with their data. Don't like companies that do that. Even Windows 10, you can at least pause it for a little bit, and you can do, as much as I hate, some of the things Microsoft does, and I just despise their updates because I don't think they're doing enough testing. Well, this is new that we're seeing, where QuickBooks is just forcing updates against the user's will, and we got to compel. Now, I will say this. That makes us more money, but that's not how I want to make money, with my clients being angry and frustrated. It's not how I want to do it, but all of these things creates more billable time for me. But, I sound like I don't want to make more money. I can make enough money with good things happening. I don't have to have the bad stuff constantly happening. But yes, of course, that's how I bill for it. And now, big uptick on QuickBooks updates. I have one client that says when she hits it, the first call is to me to coordinate the update. So I am going to do that. The final story is, and I heard Taz is in another room, and he can hear me when the client, their Chrome browser was hijacked because they were searching for Facebook and they clicked on the wrong link. This is so hard. I would say at least 75% of all of my clients do not go to, even though I've taught them, they don't go to the top of the bar and actually type Facebook.com or Dell.com or Amazon.com. Hey, that's why bookmarks were invented. They refuse to bookmark the site, and they refuse to type the actual site. They search it. So guess what? Their browser gets hijacked because they click on the first thing, and it's a bad actor that's sitting on that site that happened to get high on the search results, and they are infected. Or and this was so funny, I could hear the computer talking on the phone, and when I logged in, the audio was coming through, and you are infected. You need to call this number, and you need to click. It was, oh my God. And all I did was go to Task Manager, kill it. I run Adware Cleaner real fast, and then I checked the settings of Chrome. And of course, I did a reboot, and there were several updates, so I had to wait for that to happen, and then finally get logged in, and everything's good. And taught the person, look, let's create a bookmark, and this is how. It's all about training, and I do my best, but sometimes it won't take. The user that still constantly lets people remote into his computer. Oh, well, they mess things up. We're going to have to work. I'm tired of telling him not to let someone connect to your computer unless you know personally who it is. And they continue to do it. They continue to search for things. I don't understand the roadblock in learning this. And it's just that they don't care enough about the tech and about the details here that we do. But it's all about education, and that's what you got to get in front of everybody and help them. Or at least do it a couple times. And then when you're tired of it, oh, well, you just fix it at that point. You don't even have to say, no problem, I'll take care of it. And you just go about and you fix it. And you can only do what you can. This week, I'm only talking about some of the stories that I went through. I have not mentioned one thing about my son this whole week. And the emails I've got, the text messages back and forth, that's another show, including where he was up to less than 2 hours ago, where I was talking to him, where he is on site in an office in a mall. And I'll just let that dangle there, where trying to get the internet connectivity and everything up and running. So with managed switches that we don't have access to and we can't manage, but getting the person available that can. Oh my gosh. So that's a story for another time. Lots of stuff happening. I have enough material for at least the next 2 or 3 shows, and I got emails still that I want to get to. So, but before I finally wrap up, Fab's Auto Backup 7 Pro, that is the best program to move settings and data from one system to another. Just check out the link. Check out the link, and we will and you'll be able to purchase it. Let me wrap up. Instant House Call. Go to instanthousecall.com, and you will love. Check it out. Get the trial. Mention Mike Tech Show, and you will love the remote access. And then, of course, for all of your online backup needs, MagnusBox. Go to magnusbox.com and mention you heard it on the Mike Tech Show. That's it. I will see everybody next week. Taz, some final comments. What do you think now, being part of a show? I go ahead.
Interesting.
But that's it.
Definitely fun.
Okay.
Nice to
I hope
see
you
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time.
Oh, a blast.
Okay, good.
You are the consummate host.
All right. Is Taz only wearing a shirt and underwear? Well, no, they're shorts. They're short shorts. That they could, because it is hot down here, everybody. It is Florida. It's 8:17 and it's 74 degrees right now. So, and for everybody who's just listening to the audio, you can see Taz sitting behind me from a side view, and then in a box, I have the camera pointing directly at him. So for sitting. Anybody who watched last New Year's Eve show, that's where my wife sat, in that same seat right there. And someday, I think I should do this once, which is demonstrate just what I go through to make what seems so simple, him sitting there with that microphone and headset, but the 6 cables that go to multiple places.
Yeah, I should have recorded it while you were doing it.
Yeah, I should have. Now, see, that would be a cool show. So the microphone, the headset breakout box that's got to go to the mixer, where I'm gonna, you're gonna hear more vinyl in the post show. How the vinyl's into the mixer. His mic has to go to the mixer. The camera has to go to a USB port on my computer, and then of course my headset has to go to the breakout box that you don't see in front of Taz. So there's a lot going on here just to make this have one other person with you. And I have it all down here, and I love doing it, and I loved having you on the show. And
thank you. I enjoyed being had.
Okay. That's it, everybody. Have a safe week. And oh my gosh, I forgot. It's Veterans Day. for all of the veterans out there, veterans you know, if you are a veteran or if you're currently in the service, thank you so much for your service. Happy Veterans Day. I know it's the end of the day, but just thank you. And that's it. And I'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Bye-bye.